So we're live, and then you go to your page.
Okay, so I'm on, let me see, I'm on your page, on your LinkedIn page, right? So let me hit your Raywin, your profile. I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
And then I should be going live like right about now, and you will be able to share that to your page too, like to repost it so people can see.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, should I share am I able to share my
Yeah.
screen?
Yes, look, we're showing up right now. Like it's happening right now. I can see it.
Okay, let me do a screen share real quick with you because I want to show you where I am. So here you are. Okay, so here I am on your page. Yeah? Okay, so tell me where.
I can add it to the stream. So there it is. You're on my, so scroll down.
All right.
Sorry, guys, for people who are tuning in. There's a little bit of technical stuff going on here as we get this right. All right. So do you see where the event is? Under activity. Under activity. There you go.
Oh, okay.
Oh. Not sure why that happened. So we got to,
yeah. Let me go do this again.
Well, in any case, I feel like we've got like a minute before we're officially due to kick off. So,
and if we don't, if we don't, then let me go to your, I'm going to click over here.
I think that, yeah, under posts, yep, happening now.
Okay, so I'll click this puppy. I'll click, can I do click to join this one? All right, perfect.
I'm just going to take it off because I don't want everyone like freaking out seeing all the scrolling going on.
Gotcha. Okay.
And we got a couple people joining too. So hello, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Hi, everybody. We're trying to get this onto all the major networks. So this is why you're seeing, I think we're just going to have to go with what
we're just going to go with it. It's 11 o'clock Pacific, which is the time that we said we were going to kick off. So I just want everyone, I want to be respectful of everybody's time and of Gita's time and everybody who's tuned in. So I just want to say welcome. I do these once a week. My name is Raywin Guerrero. I am the Gutsy Executive Coach. I'm a corporate wellness consultant, functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, CBT hypnotherapist, and best-selling author of the book Corporate Dropouts, and an international speaker. And I've learned that the secret to success is by focusing on health as the first wealth, with the gut-brain connection as my North Star. And I wanted to bring Gita onto this, my weekly live series, because she's the founder of The Human Edge, and humor is such an important factor in our biochemistry and our physiology. So she helps leaders become better leaders by becoming funnier. So Gita, if you want to share a little bit about your journey and what led you into this work, I'd be so delighted, because I think everybody would love to hear.
Yes, and I'm sure you all get a laugh out of this. So yeah, what really brought along the genesis, I'll say, of the Humor Edge was my fallacies and my shortcomings in presenting and showing up to the world funny. So I'll even start, I mean, back when I was 23, I entered, well, even maybe 21, 22, I entered the workforce, and I had a boss who had told me, hey, we need you to dye your hair. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's fine. Whatevs. And he was like, no, gray. And I'm like, I'm sorry, gray. Like I would look like Benjamin Button if I dye my hair gray, because I'd like that people, it would offset. I would look like I'm a 23-year-old with like gray hair. People would, that's not the way to command attention. So I really had to find something within myself to kind of channel, to kind of command and get status with clients. At the time I was in sales, and sales is all about the product, but it's also about you behind the product and how you present it, right? You need to build that authority and establish that credibility. And growing up, the thing that I always relied on was humor. So I really found my way to kind of develop my humor skills and my presentation skills with this concept of humor. And as I kind of progressed through my career, I founded a company. I did a lot of trainings for companies and had to work with a lot of executives on just setting up complex things for them. And humor was the basis of how I would really kind of talk to them, right? If you can laugh with somebody, you can work with them. And I really believe that that has proven true, you know, back in the 1800s when I grew up, and today, you know. And I don't think it's going to change. In fact, even with the advent of AI these days, I think it's even more important that we really kind of tune into these softer skills in our selves and in our within, to just kind of to I don't know, be who we are in this world. So that's how I founded the Humor Edge. Yeah. Ooh, I think you might be on mute.
Okay, can you hear me now? Yeah. So I was gonna say I can't agree with you more on the AI phenomenon that is taking over. People are using AI to write blogs. They're using AI. I use AI for my note taking, and I think that's probably where it should stay. But I definitely don't want it taking over like human jobs, or you can you and you like you were just saying, like connection is such an important part of being a leader, and to get people to know, like, and trust you. How are you going to do that if you're like robotic? You need to be able to connect with them by using humor. One of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you today, because we keep these briefs, by the way, everyone. So for anyone who's tuning in for the first time, 15 to 20 minutes, we give you some bite-sized nuggets that you can go away with. The thing that I was completely like blown away by was that I use something called an Aura ring to track my heart rate variability. And there are other ways that we can track, stress in the body and that kind of thing as well. Because that's my whole ethos is like, you've got to be able to measure, otherwise you can't manage it. So looking at my heart rate variability, when I look at things like, violent or scary films, or watching too much TV later into the night, my heart rate variability while I slept was very, very low. So that meant my recovery wasn't that great. When I would look at something funny, right, you would see like this marked difference in my HRV. Like it would go up into the 90s, sometimes even 100. And I'd be like, oh my God, this stuff it's actually changing my physiology, right?
Yes.
And I feel like that's something that people are missing. They're because that we live in these societies where, we're on all the time. There's no line between work and play anymore. Everyone's glued to their phones when they shouldn't be, after hours, all that blue light, all these different stressors coming at you all the time. We don't have that line anymore where, okay, I'm done with work, pack up the computer, go home, whatever. Now it's like you're still on the phone, you're still on the tablet, you're still on the computer. Sorry, it just fell over. And the laptop, the tablet just fell over. And these things, they're creating like they put us into a state of what we call hypervigilance. So our cortisol, that's our stress hormone, it's being pumped out all the time. So we're not having those periods of recovery, and laughter and joy and joyful experiences, which is huge, can really make a tremendous difference to your biochemistry, to your physiology.
Yes.
And I hear people tell me all the time, oh, when I went to Italy, like I was able to eat foods that I couldn't eat when I'm living in America or in England or whatever. I'm like, well, a couple of things behind that potentially. One, you're probably eating some kind of heirloom grain that, you can't get in the US or in the UK, but you go to Italy and it's not GMO'd. And two, you're more relaxed if you're on vacation. You're relaxed, you're enjoying yourself. And that lack of stress means that you're able to digest food better. You're able to assimilate nutrients better. And then that means you're able to perform and think better because you're getting more protein, more fiber, like all the good things. So I brought you on because I wanted to hear like how you use humor with leaders. And if you have like a funny story to share, please feel free.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, to kind of reinforce a little bit of your observations and to the science behind it, a lot of those same synaptic channels, even in the brain, that release the cortisol, when you actually go into humor, which is somewhat of a flow state in the mind, you're actually shutting down that same pathway and you're releasing an endorphins. Your body physically, it's perfectly designed in the sense that it's hard to induce stress and pleasure at almost that same instance, right? It's hard to release a lot of that. So it's fascinating to watch that they actually talk about how when you are funny and when you're laughing at things and you see and recognize funny and you're in that funny state, you're actually in the same place that you would be if you were meditating. It's that gamma-3 globulin. I can't remember, but it's that same key primary component that you're releasing into the body. So you can absolutely engineer it. And to your point, your basal, how do I call it, your baseline state of happiness with kind of looking for and seeking and reaching for the humor before you go to bed is something that you can engineer, right? And so if you can, which if you have a strong, basal state of happiness, that actually plays out in performing during the day, 12 hours later when you wake up and you're performing, right? Or 8 hours, or for some of us 5, right? Whatever it may be. So know that. And then to your point, how do I use this with leaders? So funny stories around that. A lot of leaders, and this is not, it's not, I won't even isolate this to leaders. I'm just going to say people in general. We are a product of our, environment and our experiences, right? And we only know what we know. So a lot of times when I work with people and I coach them through humor, what may be funny in their eyes is maybe not something that lands to the common eye, right? And so I sometimes help them through that. I had a coach recently client recently who was an athlete, and this is very common, especially with high performers. They were athletes maybe through their formative years, and now they are leading companies. And the experiences they had with play and sport and star athlete are not things that everybody may have experienced, right? So when you kind of go deep into that domain and joke in that world, you may ostracize, lose, not identify with the whole audience, right? And that's what, that's one of the things that I coach to, is just kind of understanding your own bias, if you will. I say that the basics around why, humor doesn't land when you execute it, which, by the way, for those of you who do execute it, even trained professional comedians have a 50% hit rate. So we expect that not everything will land. But when it does, know that it will, the reasons it doesn't land is because somebody doesn't identify with it, you're offsetting somebody, or they just don't understand what you're trying to say, right? So those are kind of the 3 common reasons for why humor doesn't land, if you will. And let me take a second. I want to look at Raywin.
I just came back. I think my Wi-Fi actually just dropped off, and I had to switch over to my 5G using my phone. I'm jerry-rigging it through my phone. Oh,
all good. I just gave everybody $1 million, so just kidding.
I just went through because the broadcast is coming from me, so I'm just hoping that it actually went through. I do hope it. Yeah. Was anyone able to interact with you and say something? Did you guys hear? I don't know. I'm not sure either. We'll find out afterward.
Yeah, let me see. I do see. Yeah, I didn't see anything, but I saw a couple comments coming through, but I'm not sure. I guess we'll find out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm here. Somebody, yay!
Yay. Okay, great. Thank you. So did you hear everything that Gita just said while I was absent for the last 5 minutes? That's what I want to know. Did we actually get it? Did it keep streaming while I was offline?
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
Okay, incredible.
Okay, and I answered your question. Yeah. Yay. Okay, so good.
That's why I love StreamYard. It just makes my life so easy. If it was Zoom, that would not have happened.
The power of AI, or I don't know.
Technology just saved my bacon. So thank you, Gita, for covering while I was trying to get back in.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of talked about that, the kind of that chemical side of the release of the cortisol versus the endorphins, and then I talked about the coaching and how I help with my clients and kind of coaching them through the value of humor and how they use it. I will say that it's you'd be surprised. A lot of, and I don't want to ostracize generations, but the younger generation really, really gets this stuff too. So in fact, I'm in an improv, which, by the way, if you don't do improv, if you want to use humor and or practice your wit, improv is a great way to do it. But I find that I've taken classes in Chicago, in LA, and in New York, and where you'll see the people that come into these classes are super young, and everybody gets humor, and I'm just saying, it's one of those skills that, believe it or not, I think that it's almost a lost art. it takes a lot of work. It takes a little bit of the mind to understand a joke, find genuine humor in it, relate to it. And to execute a joke takes even advanced skill beyond that, because you have to strike that right balance of opportunity, finding something funny, and then just versing it, right? So it's an advanced skill. I think and having that emotional intelligence to kind of say, hey, I feel safe to put this joke out there. So anyway, I digress. So Raven, take us back to
Well, no, I think what you were saying was so important, like in terms of, I keep thinking of the word joy and like being able to create experiences of joy on a regular basis for the people. Or, I mean, what do people remember about people who've left their lives, who've departed? Like, oh, he made me laugh. Oh, I was always so happy when he was around. That person brought me so much joy. Those are the things that are memorable, and I prefer if we created more experiences of like that rather than, because we do have life is full of stuff like upheaval and stress and all those other things. But if we consciously choose to focus on creating joyful laughter, humorous experiences at home and at work, I think everybody's going to win. Like the people around you are going to be happier. Your teams are going to be happier. Your partners, husbands, wives, children, everyone's going to be happier. Right?
Absolutely. And you're right. It's the emotional benefit. And to your point, it's that physiological benefit too, right? And it makes a lot of things easy. A lot of companies, a lot of people, you may even not realize it's used, but when you joke with somebody, and they get it, you've established commonality and you're breaking bread with them, and you're like, you're my people, you get my joke, so there's a lot of, and people, that is a basic human need, is to feel safe and to feel belonged, right? And that comes from some of that could, be kind of fostered through humor, right? And joking within one another. So
yeah. So do you have any like top tips for like how someone can be funnier? Like if you had 3 things to give away. Yes. Yeah. Top 3 things.
Yes. One is just, find within yourself, if find your humor, right? And it's a bit of I've done a little bit of writings that I published through the LinkedIn platform about just finding your humor and different people that have your same sense of humor. What do you laugh at? Just explore that a little bit and understand it. And then, practice it, right? Find those patterns. You're going to typically, when you understand and you kind of double down on like, what do I find funny? Sometimes also, by the way, what I find funny and what I execute as funny are different. So know that's kind of fascinating of itself. But, and to practice it, like watch it and practice it. I think I always advocate I truly believe that humor is a muscle, and it is something that you can exercise, you can engineer, you can build into your life. And I truly believe that if you call on it faster, it's kind of like that recess of your mind, that synaptic level of that particular thing, i.e. humor, will kind of raise to your mind. And when you reach for it quickly, it's better for you, right? And it's accessible, right? So practice it. I actually posted something recently where I put everybody on a 4-day challenge to kind of look at humor, find something that's humorous in their life, look in their top day, middle of the day, and bottom of the day with like some reflection of humor. And you'll be surprised how, as you mentioned, your basal humor rate, or your heart rate, is almost a proxy for that, right? As you mentioned, it actually improves. So I tell you to look at over 4 days and find where your stress is, and evaluate kind of your stress level if you can at the top of that. I actually released it on Tuesday and said, look at your rate on Friday and see if you've enjoyed that experience, right? Because you're now kind of engineering happiness into your life and joy and humor. So you are up leveling your performance, right? And of your body. So.
Yeah. Well, and
and
that
don't
has
feel
a knock-on effect, right? That's a knock-on effect onto every other aspect. Like if you can engineer, and I love the idea of being a happiness engineer. If you can engineer happiness into all these different areas of your life, like how can you not be a success? Because my whole ethos is like, well, can you be successful if you are burnt out, your hormones are all over the place, your gut hurts, you're visiting doctors, and you're spending all the money that you've acquired on trying to fix yourself? Like that's not the equivalent of a success, is it? Right? Like isn't success when, and someone told me today, they said, oh, well, when it's summer, I barely get any work done. I said, well, nobody's going to stay at the end of their life. They're never going to be like, oh, I wish I'd worked more. They're going to be like, man, I wish I was outside more. I wish I'd played more with my kids. I wish I'd gone on that trip. So, you know, the idea of engineering happiness into our lives, like we're never going to think, man, I wish I'd been more productive at work. We're going to think like, I wish I'd laughed more. I wish I had laughed more. I wish I made other people laugh. I wish everyone around me. I think Mother Teresa is the one who said it. She said, let no one leave you unless they're feeling happier. Like anyone who comes to you, they've got to walk away feeling happier than when they first showed up. And it's that whole ethos of being a steward, of being a good steward of either your environment, whether that's your physical, like the earthly plane, or the people in your network, right? Like let them come to you and walk away feeling like I have learned something. I feel happier. I'm lighter. I'm freer. And that's my ethos. Like I want everyone to come away feeling like I have learned a lot. I have transformed myself on a cellular level, knowing that I'm doing all the things that I possibly can, not just about food, but also about, you know, rewiring neural pathways. You were talking about it before. Humor is a muscle. It's actual neuroplasticity. We used to think that the brain was static and that the brain couldn't respond to stimuli, and that once you were 18, it was formed. But everything that we know now, like the more, like if you keep wiring yourself and like for negative downward spirals, you will keep recreating that. And right now there's a lot of work in this space around trauma, around sadness, around burnout. And I really want to turn that around. I'm like, why do we keep talking about this? Like we keep perpetuating it. And I'm not saying don't acknowledge it, like it's there, but the way to shift and to alchemize it is to actually get into the headspace of like, what am I choosing to focus on? What am I intending? And how can I consciously move forward now by focusing on creating experiences of joy? So
absolutely.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. I mean, like I will say, and I use a lot of metaphors. So one of my things that, if helpful, is that I'm doing a 30-day challenge for my arms. I'm trying to develop biceps. And I did it in April through May. I did it for 30 days. And kid you not, my arms had like a definition in them. And then I stopped, right? And I lost my definition. So I'm picking it back up again, and kid you not, my arms are gaining more definition.
Muscle memory.
And I'm using that metaphor because that's the same way that this stuff works with humor, believe it or not. It's a muscle in the mind. You call on it, and if you call on it frequently and you practice it or make it reticent, make it accessible in your mind by just having it in front of you. If you call a YouTube video or something and you make it accessible, it will be used. You will evoke it. You will emote it more, right? Because it's out there. It is a muscle. And I truly believe that you can engineer that so that you're, and one of the things that within humor too, and I believe this for many emotions, is that, but I'll say particularly humor for me, from what I've observed, when you're immunocompromised or you're down, if you don't have callable things that are healthy to come into, that are accessible, you could spiral down and vortex down, right? Mm-hmm. And humor is, if you use it when you're kind of in this not so amazing place, it actually can kick in for you and in your mind. So that's why I'm a huge proponent for this whole exercise that I'm doing, because you are in fact creating that muscle memory for humor in your mind that you will be able to call on in good times and in bad, right? And develop your little bicep or whatever.
Yeah. Your humor bicep. I love that. Yes. Well, thank you so much. I feel like we've covered a ton of ground and we've given people some really practical, easy things that they can go away with. Do you have any final thoughts on that you would love people to think about when they're thinking about humor?
Just try to find, everybody's humorous. Don't think that you're not. Find it within yourself. It's a channeling effect. You're welcome to, I post it's my passion. I am a huge advocate for making this world a funnier place because it helps everybody. So if you like what you've heard, you're welcome to follow me through. I'm more active on LinkedIn as opposed to my other social networks. I will, full disclosure, but follow me there, and you'll get to kind of learn a little bit about this stuff if helpful.
Yeah,
So,
fabulous. Thank you, Gita. I will pop the links for Gita's social media into the comment section. So if anybody does want to get in touch with her, there's her website. I've also got her on, she's on Twitter, she's on LinkedIn, she's on Facebook, she's on Instagram.
I need to
I'll
be
pop
better
all
than others, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll pop all the links beneath in the comments once the show is over. So anyone who wants to reach out to her, any organizations that feel that they want to bring more humor into their boardrooms and into their teams, definitely get in touch with Gita. She is a true delight and a professional, and she will have you, feeling good, walking away, knowing that you're connecting with the people that you want to connect with, and you're bringing in what you want to bring in, that kind of energy. So thank you so much. And you guys, this is actually my last live for the season. I will not be back until September. So I am taking some time out. I am going to a wedding in Trinidad. It's a big wedding, and I'll be leaving next week. So I'm going to be away for a little while and taking some time out in the summer to record my own podcast and summit. So I will see you guys on the flip side at the end of summer. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. See you later, everyone.
Thanks, Gita. Bye, everybody.
Bye.